Hello, fellow humans. My name is Christina. Um, and who am I? I'm honestly just a person who is answering the call, um, putting myself out there, doing things that are scary, but also exciting and exhilarating because you have no idea where they're going to lead. But with that being said, I am honestly a person who is another member of the Starting Life Over at 35 Club. I would call this phase of my life a rebuilding phase, and I am definitely not where I want to be yet. I would call this mid-metamorphosis, but that's okay. I'm sure there's a lot of other people who can relate. So here we are. I got on my Trust the Universe shirt because that's all you can really do. Um, so, with that being said, this video is for anyone who feels like they're also in a rebuilding phase, anyone starting over in their mid 30s, and really anyone who feels called um, by something bigger than themselves, someone who is following a career path or a higher calling. That's pretty much where I'm coming from here. I'm following a call in my life. I'm very spiritual, so I have known intuitively that there is something that I need to do, a way that I need to show up and be of service in my community. And at this point, that looks like me sharing my journey with everyone else. And for those who resonate, join in. We have cookies. Um, so all that being said, I have a couple points. Sorry, I'm looking down so much. Newbie here. I got my notes, my handy dandy notebook. And I just want to make sure I get this right, concise, and I just want to make sure it's clear because I have a tendency to ramble. So here we go. So, how am I answering the call at this point in my life? So, number one, I'm starting where I'm at. I have jokingly called this year my Mariah Carey year. I'm doing the best I can with what I got. And that looks a couple ways. So I just want to share that with you just in case you're at a point where you're like, I don't know where to start. Maybe I can help. Um, so one of those ways is really not like really leaning into not buying anything extra, knowing that you really have all the tools that you need right here, right now, and doing the best you can with what you got. So for me, that was journaling. So not going out and getting a fancy journal. I literally used old composition notebooks from school, um, pieces of paper. As long as you have a writing utensil and something to write on, I'll always advocate for journaling. It is a very good way to be introspective and reflective on your life, your triggers, your emotions, and to really be able to sit with them and go deeper and do that type of inner work. Um, so yes, paper and pen, paper and pencil. Write your thoughts out. Get them out of your head. Um, Number two, meditating. So, literally just finding a quiet place to go, sitting, and once again, being introspective, doing breath work. And if that seems like it's too far of a reach, just focus on your breath in and out. Learn how to do deep belly breaths. Um, Really, just sitting in silence is going to help you realize, like, okay, quick body scan. First, if you're not able to sit in silence, that's information. And if you are, but there's a thought that keeps coming up, don't shoo it away, but going back to using paper and a pen, write it down, see where it goes from there. But with those two scenarios, you still have everything you need at the house. So no need to go out and have like a useless trip for nothing. The other thing that I started with was connecting with my community. I'm blessed enough to have a lot of friends that I've known since childhood. We've been able to witness each other through many seasons in each other's lives, and even if you don't have friends that go back that far, if you have a friend who is willing to help you work through your emotions, or willing to listen to you when you need to vent, or just really just being a listening ear with whatever's going on in your life. um, Definitely reach out to those friends and make sure that you're also pouring into them when you have the energy and the spoons too. um, the next thing is, if you genuinely don't have a resource at home, use your free resources. Number one, YouTube. Hello, we are in an age of information. I have learned so much on YouTube. And with that, the library. If there's a book that you need, see if it's available online for free. If not, see if the library has it. If they don't have it, a physical copy, try Libby. See if that works for you. Getting a library card is free. It's literally free. So, and once you have that, you have access to so many other resources that you probably didn't even realize were there. So, use what you have. Do your best to try not to spend any additional money, because then that really keeps you stuck. You get stuck in the, well, I can't afford this thing, so I can't do the thing. No, you can quite frankly do whatever you want, and that just starts with being a little bit resourceful. Um, so the last point I'll make with starting where you're at, using what you have, if you have a physical health journey, again, utilize YouTube, utilize what you have around the house. When I wanted to start working out again, I started small. I started walking around my neighborhood listening to podcasts. I started watching Matt Pilates videos on YouTube and trying to emulate what worked for me in my body. It really can start as small as that. You don't need to start off knowing everything. That's not how this works. It's called a journey for a reason. One step in front of the other. You gotta crawl before you ball. So that being said, my second point is to take inspired action and inspired risks. So really, the main way I can say that is, do the thing that scares you. If you're an intuitive person, if you're a person that gets inklings or has very gut reactions to what you're supposed to be doing or what you think you're supposed to be doing, follow those feelings. I would say, because I know for each person that thing is very subjective, but what I can say is it's probably the thing that you feel excited and anxious to do, but it sparks such a visceral, fearful reaction in you that you might doubt yourself, or you might say, well, it can't be that because why am I reacting this way? It's scary because it's going to change your life. And one of my examples of that is this YouTube video. Again, as a person who follows their intuition, follows the spirit's call, I have been encouraged and probably nudged a couple times to come on a platform and to share my story, to be authentic, to connect with people who aren't yet where they want to be, but they want community. They want to see someone who looks like them, who's trying their best and making it work. And I volunteer. So because all I really want to do is to use my gifts to be of service, and that starts with putting myself out there, being perceived. So yeah, with that being said, being perceived is not my jam. It always came with the threat of some sort of backlash in my past, but now that I've worked through those memories, those traumas, and I have pretty set boundaries on what I will allow and won't allow to affect me, um, it it's okay to be seen being imperfect. It's okay to be seen trying. Those mantras have been pretty helpful in terms of just doing things imperfectly, being willing to be seen imperfectly. And now we're here. So, like I said, friends, one step in front of the other. The last point I'll be making is really how I lead my life intentionally and that is using joy as my guiding principle. So, I'm what I'm not saying here is that everything in life needs to produce joy. That is not the case. Um, Everything ebbs and flows, and as we know, you can't have joy unless you have the harder emotions. Like there's happiness, there's sadness, there's anger and frustration, there's exhilaration and vindication. Any whatever you feel, the pendulum it swings back and forth. For every high of highs, there will be a low of lows, but we always we come back. Life is cyclical in that way. So with that being said, if you prioritize moments of joy throughout your day, then that is really going to help bolster your spirit on this journey, because this is a marathon. And there are going to be moments that are extremely frustrating. There are going to be moments where it feels like, well, this is probably the place that I need to give up or pivot to a new, easier, quicker thing. That's not always the case. Sometimes it means maybe I need to prioritize a moment of joy here so that I can continue later or tomorrow or maybe even this weekend. So, some examples of that for myself, because I can only really speak for myself here and share what I'm doing. And hopefully, if that works for you guys, that's perfect. And if there's any methods that I don't mention, share them. I'd love to diversify. So for number one, it's really looks like finding a little moment of bliss in everyday mundane um, activities. So that can look like, excuse me, really savoring a cup of coffee or a great dessert. Um, Really taking a notice of the nature around you. And that was one of those things that I would do on my walks is you drive by things every day, and life becomes so routine that you're not as aware of your surroundings and the beauty that really is there. So that looks like looking at a tree that you've probably passed by 5 times and you're like, wow, let me notice some details about this tree or the flowers, or even seeing moments of children playing or people embracing, and really just taking in that moment of joy, of happiness, and taking that with you as you move on throughout your day and throughout your journey. Um, like I said before, life is a pendulum, life is cyclical. So these moments will be fleeting, and experiencing moments of joy isn't going to change your life overnight. However, the point is, as you do things intentionally for joy, so activities that you find joyful. For me, that looks like coloring, or going on a hot girl walk with my friends, or doing arts and crafts, reading for pleasure or to learn. Whatever that looks like for you, just know that finding joy and the point of that is to fill up your days with moments that feel like a reprieve, a joyful, a happy, a peaceful reprieve, so that it fills up your tank a little bit more so you can make it to the next baby step that's going to help your future. And ultimately, all of this is really going to change your perception so that you can change your perspective as a whole. So, trying not to make this video too long, but I'm a talker. You'll learn that about me as we move forward. But in summary, what I'm really trying to do is to present a person, an imperfect person, showing up mid-transformation. And I want to show and let you know that even if you're in a spot that is so uncomfortable, even if you think like, well, like it's impossible to find joy in these moments, and I have been there. What's the harm in trying? If you can do something, the smallest thing, to make your day even like 1% better, to make your life maybe 1% better, it's not going to change everything, but at least you did something different today. At least you did something that shows whatever inner versions of you that need support that, hey, I care enough to prioritize feeling good today. I care enough to do something that's going to help future me tomorrow. Um, and again, all of that will ultimately change your perception of how you view each day as you're on the journey, taking these action steps, doing the things that feel uncomfortable. Um, that's going to show the inner you. I'm going to show up for myself even when it's hard, even when I feel hopeless. And eventually, over time, you won't feel that way anymore. It'll become less and less. The inner critic will get quieter and quieter. The ego that wants to keep you safe from potentially messing up on doing something new, that will go into the background. It'll always be there, but eventually it will get quieter and you'll realize, like I was letting essentially my conditioned mind keep me from building the life I wanted. And having that realization is hard. However, as a person who's personally going through this, it just makes you realize how much more capable and powerful you are in being able to really cultivate a life that makes you happy. And ultimately, that will end up looking like your dream life. So that being said, where are we at? Like 16 minutes. I hope I didn't talk your ear off. I hope you find this helpful, and I'll see you next time.